Sir, sir, you can start now.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, which is run by Shri Mahavidyalaya-Swami Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Ausa, welcomes all the honorable dignitaries and the participants for this national webinar on the topic Basic Interview Skills. Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa has been organizing a mega series, a long series of national and international webinars. The purpose behind arranging this webinar series is to exchange knowledge, to enrich knowledge, and to have the discussions on different topics so that answers and solutions can be found, and these can benefit all. The attempt of webinars is becoming successful. The series is going on without any interruption, and this has become possible because of the chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series, Honorable Principal Dr. M.M. Bedkar sir. He is the chairperson of this webinar, so heartily I welcome him for this webinar. I am very pleased to welcome today's honorable chief guest and keynote speaker, Principal Shanoli ma'am from SJPS HALDIA, West Bengal. On behalf of the organizing committee of webinar series and Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, I heartily welcome her as an invited speaker for this national webinar. I also welcome all organizing committee members, Vice Principal SD Misal sir, Ravindra Karanje sir, Praveen Udge sir, IQAC Coordinator Dr. Sanjay Kale sir, Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am, Dr. Patwari sir, Sudhir Garad sir, Ambadas Khillare sir, and Dr. Wadkar sir. The speech will be soon started, but prior to it, I request Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am to introduce today's honorable speaker. Please ma'am, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
A very good evening to one and all. You are welcome to this grand national and international webinar series organized by Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya-Ausa. So firstly, I am very thankful to respected Principal and Chief Organizer Dr. Bedkar MM for giving me an opportunity to introduce resource person on this virtual platform. My special thanks goes to all the respected organizing committee members, IQAC coordinator and staff members, and a big thanks to all the respected participants who are joining very regularly from all over India and abroad also, and they are making this series very successful series. So I am very happy to introduce today's keynote speaker. Today's keynote speaker is Honorable Shanoli. She is Principal Educationist, SJPS HALDIA, West Bengal. Topic of presentation is Basic Interview Skills. She is an advocate of growth and innovation in the management of education organizations with a total professional experience of 20 years and 5 years as principal. Apart from professional, she is associated with some NGOs like CRY, Social Development International Child Chapter India, Women of Heart UK as honorary advisor, and volunteer sharing her knowledge, expertise and skills for empowerment of women and children. Her educational qualification is MA Sociology from Kanpur University, BA in History and BSc in Botany, and B.Ed. She got many certifications as Diploma in Fashion Design, Primary Teachers Training, Coaching and Mentoring, Diversity and Inclusion, How to Become a Super Learner, etc. She achieved Women Leadership Award, Global Woman Power Award, Most Dynamic Principal of the Year Award in 2021, Best Principal Award All India School Teacher Parent Group, National Women Entrepreneurship Award, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam International Award of Excellence from IT Mayam Group of Companies, Active Principal Award, etc. There are so many awards are achieved by ma'am, but I have given the information about some of them. She published a number of articles and books, and she has number of skills. So with this introduction, I would like to request today's keynote speaker, Honorable Shanoli ma'am. Please start your presentation. Thank you.
Good evening to all, and thank you very much for inviting me in this platform. Thank you, Dr. Bedkar sir, for inviting me over here. I'm really fortunate to come and deliver my speech over here and share my knowledge and skill with dignitaries as well as students also. So today's topic is, just a moment, let me share the screen. Basic interview skill. We all know that when we are in college or university, our next preparation is always to find a suitable job or get hired by some good companies. So, pardon me, is my PPT is visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Just a minute. So today, that is why I have chosen this topic to groom the students for our basic interview skill. Because most of the time what happens, though the students gain knowledge in different academic or extracurricular subjects, but they do not have the knowledge how to prepare for the interview to land a good job. So that is why it is very necessary to groom the students. They should know before getting any job what preparation they should need. So that is why I will be discussing about some interview skills, and it will include a variety of topics, subtopics in it. So let me first tell what are interview skills. क्या है interview skill? Successful interviewing is a science as much as it is an art. It requires diligent preparation along with the ability to be at ease in the interview room. It's also important to be comfortable and confident in discussing why you are the best fit for a role. So these are the basic things. That interview skill क्या है? ये एक both एक science and art है. साइंस इसलिए कि you have to practice चाहिए regular basis in scientific way. And art means when you will be presenting yourself, जब कोई इंटरव्यू में जाएगा और जाएगी, then he or she has to present in a way that the employer thinks that this person is suitable for the role. तो ऐसे अपने आप को present करना. So that is a skill and art. So next, interviewing is a skill in or of itself, one in which your ability to interact with the interviewer and to articulate your thoughts and factors that are just as important in getting the job as other qualifications listed on your resume. So, why interview skill is important? Because apart from your educational qualification, जो भी educational qualification है, उसके साथ you have to prove that you are able. आप में वो काबिलियत है कि आपको अगर ये जॉब मिले तो you can satisfy your employer. So that is the ability and that is the skill you require. So सबसे पहले क्या जानना है? How to make your skills stand out. So सबके पास knowledge, suppose you are graduating from an university or a college, तो वो degree सबके पास है. But आप कैसे hire किया जाओगे? What is that skill that will make you stand out? आपको बाकी सबसे अलग कैसे करेगा? So सबसे पहले when you will start finding your job, match your skills to the job. जो भी job we will sometimes we see कि वो job page में जो भी job आते हैं, we think कि we should apply, let us apply. ये कोई भी एक job शायद लग जाए, but you have to first think and decide which skills you have, whether the job is matching with your skills or not. Next is analyze the job listing, paying special attention to the hard and soft skills that are highlighted in the job description. So first you see the skills, your skills are matching. Next you have to analyze. उसका विचार कीजिए कि आपके पास जो भी हार्ड एंड सॉफ्ट स्किल्स है वो जो जॉब में हाईलाइट किया गया है उसके साथ मैच हो रहा है कि नहीं. Next is personalize your resume and cover letter to match their requirements. So sometimes what happen, हम लोगों के पास एक ही resume हम लोग बना लेते हैं और एक ही cover letter पहले से तैयार रखते हैं. जहाँ पर भी जॉब की एडवर्टाइजमेंट आते हैं हम लोग वही सेंड करते हैं. बट दैट इज रॉन्ग. हर एक जॉब का कुछ रिक्वायरमेंट्स होते हैं. So you have to find out what are the skills or hard or soft skill, whatever they are highlighting. Accordingly, you have to personalize. Means each and every time you have to change your resume or cover letter की job की according जो वो लोग दिया है advertisement में, accordingly you have to personalize. Next is familiarize yourself with other in-demand skills. So there are certain skills more or less all the job employer looking for. So you have to grow in that sense that you have all those skills which are familiar for a common set of skills. Next is soft skills like communication. May not get a direct nod in a job description, but they are still highly desired by hiring managers. So soft skill, in the soft skill, the most desired skill is communication skill. If you cannot communicate in an interview, you cannot share your ideas, your thought, or you cannot connect with the employer. So whichever other skills or qualification you have, you will not land up getting the job. So the most important skill required is your communication skill. Next is use job interviews as your advantage. Why you will use it as your advantage? If you are called for an interview, so you have the opportunity to show your skills, your knowledge and your communication ability. So job interviews provide an opportunity to show the hiring manager that you have the verbal communication skills necessary to succeed in a job rather than just telling them that you do. So whatever we write in our resume or in our cover letter, we have to showcase that we really have that skill. ऐसे नहीं कि हम लोग हमें ये मालूम है, I know this, I know that, I have written so many skills and so many degrees and everything, but जब मैं इंटरव्यू के लिए आया तो when the interviewer asking me questions, I am unable to give the proper answer. So you have to prepare for that and you have to prove yourself. Next, prepare for your interview. Practice beforehand. That is the most important thing. Whichever skills you have, whichever knowledge you have, if you don't practice beforehand, you will start to fumbling. You won't be able to give proper answer. You will just try to find out what I will say. So that is why you require practice and preparation. And don't be afraid to pause before answering their questions or to ask for clarification if you need it. Sometimes what happens, we cannot understand what the interviewer want to know from us. तो ऐसी situation में अब पूछो again कि what is the exact thing they want to know. क्या असल में वो लोग जानना चाहते हैं. Or you can take some time, a little bit pause and think about the proper answer and then answer. So these are the technique you have to practice. Next, number 9, don't stop when you get the job. ऐसे सब लोग यही करते हैं कि when they get the job, getting a job or get hired, they stop developing themselves the way they should. So want to make a lasting impression after you hired, use your communication skills at work. That is the most important skill. So job मिलने के बाद भी आप अपना communication skills regular basis पे develop कीजिए. Whether it's participating in a company meeting or talking with a client, you will have many opportunities to show how you are able. So what are the key takeaways? Hiring managers want more than job-specific skills. To impress potential employers, be prepared to show your communication skills. Second is highlight these soft skills during the process. Scan the job description for keywords related to communication skills and use them in your resume and cover letter. So suppose you are applying for a particular position. So Google में सर्च कीजिए उसके रिलेटेड क्या क्या कीवर्ड्स होते हैं. So वो कीवर्ड्स आप डालिए अपने रेज्यूमे पे और कवर लेटर पे और उस कीवर्ड्स का नॉलेज भी अपने आप में ग्रो कीजिए. Next is show, don't tell. Job interviews are your chance to demonstrate that you have what it takes. So खाली दिखावा नहीं, you have to make them able to understand that you are the best suit. So we will start before you start applying for a job or when you start applying for a job. The first thing is to prepare your cover letter. That is the most important thing. If your cover letter is proper, then only you will be called for an interview. So how to choose the right greeting for your cover letter? Cover letter का शुरू से आखिरी word तक ऐसे होनी चाहिए कि that impress, that will be the first impression. So a salutation is the greeting at the beginning of a cover letter. जो cover letter का first word is the salutation or the greeting that is included with a resume when applying for a job. When you are writing a cover letter or sending an email message to apply for a job, it's important to include an appropriate greeting at the beginning to set the tone for your letter, which should be professional and appropriate. So, first employer will notice ki how you have greeted them. Uske baad then they will go through the rest of the letter. So, appropriate agar greetings nahi hote, to sometimes what happens, the employers do not look at the whole cover letter. Sorry. Next is the greeting is the first thing the recipient will see when they read your cover letter. Therefore, it's important for you to convey the appropriate level of familiarity and respect. So, how much you are familiar with the company or the employer over there, depending on that, you will show the greetings and also showing respect. Cover letter greetings to avoid. Some usual greetings like hello, hi can make your cover letter seem unprofessional. So never begin your cover letter with a hello or hi. Reserve these casual greetings for personal email and refrain from using them in your cover letter. Next is beginning your correspondence to whom it may concern, on the other hand, may seem too impersonal. So, this one also to be avoided. You will never begin your cover letter to whom it may concern. The only time to use to whom it may concern as a cover letter greeting is when you simply cannot find out the specific person to whom you are writing. So this is the only time. After researching, after seeing the advertisement, if nothing is mentioned, अगर advertisement में कुछ भी mention नहीं किया गया कि किसको भेजना है, and after that you will try to find out from the job website of the company कि whether you can find out the recruitment manager or anybody. If also that you cannot find out, then only you can apply to whom it may concern. Now, when making an inquiry with a company for unadvertised openings, these greetings may be most appropriate. Sometimes क्या होता है, we forcefully send application, job advertisement नहीं भी होते तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, कभी कभी कोई भी कंपनीज में या जैसे स्कूल कॉलेजेस में हम लोग फोर्सफुली कुछ अपना रेज्यूमे या भेजते हैं. सो इन दैट केस कवर लेटर में कंटेन टू whom it may concern. Next, when you have a contact person, the following is a list of letter salutation examples that are appropriate for cover letters and other employment related correspondence when you have the name of a contact. Suppose we can write Dear Mr. Jones, Dear Mrs. Brown. Dear, sometimes we do not know whether the woman is Miss or Mrs. So it's better to always mention as Miss, MS, not MRS. Dear Really Doe, Dear Dr. Haven, Dear Professor Lawrence. So in that case, when you are familiar with that person's name. And when you don't have a contact person, if this information was not provided in the job announcement and you cannot find it on the company's website, then you may call the company, ask to be forwarded to their human resource department. Explain that you will be applying for a job there and ask for the name of their hiring manager. So you can contact the company. From the company's website, you can find out their contact number, then call there and then ask to connect you with the hiring manager, and then you can ask them to whom you can address the cover letter. So that is another option. Next, some general salutations. When using a general salutation, capitalize the nouns. So each letter, first letter of each noun will be in capital letter. Like dear hiring manager. In case you cannot get anything about the name, you can start writing dear hiring manager. Here all the nouns will be starting in capital letter. To whom it may concern. Dear human resources manager. Dear sir or madam. Dear company name recruiter. So this way you can, any of this you can use as a salutation. To use dear in a cover letter, it is appropriate to use dear in most circumstances, such as when the potential employer is someone you know well or they are a business acquaintances. Follow these tips on choosing the right greeting. So dear is the most appropriate word to use. For people who you know well on a first name basis, it's okay to use their first name only. So like we can dear and the name if we know, or dear Mr. this. For a business acquaintance or associate, use their first name if you meet them more than once and address them by their first name. So you can address if you have met them or you are familiar with them, then only with their first name. Next, how to write a cover letter salutation. Standard business correspondence formatting requires the following: your own contact information and the date of your letter. That will be at the first thing, at the topmost section of the letter. Next will come your contact person's name, the company's name and the company's address. So first the name of the contact person, next below that will come the company's name, and last the company's address. Next will come the formal salutation or greeting, like dear, then the contact person name or anything, sir, madam, whatever. Follow the salutation with a colon or comma. So after you writing dear and then the name, after that you will follow it with either a comma or a colon. Leave one line blank. After that you always leave one line and then start the first paragraph of your letter on the following line. Similar will be applicable for email also. Next is concluding your letter, the last part of your letter. Your letter greeting has the potential to improve your chances of getting an interview. So if you have done the greeting part properly, then you will come the body of the letter. To enhance your candidacy, make sure your cover letter maintains a professional appearance and offers relevant information, including your qualifications for the position. So your letter should be professionally appropriate with proper qualification and other key skills that the employer looking for. Next, choose the appropriate closing and always thank the reader for their time and consideration. So the closing part is also important. When sending your letter, when you are sending your letter via email, include the reason you are writing in the subject line of your message. So in the email, you can find that after you write where you are sending the email, after that there is a subject line comes. So there you have to make the reason why you are writing this letter. So how will you write subject line? First name, last name, your first name, your last name, then put a hyphen and then the position. You have to mention the word position. Suppose nurse attendant position. So whatever may be the position, you will first write about the name of the position and then mention position. And at the beginning, you will always mention your first name, your last name. Next, list your contact information in your signature rather than in the body of the letter. So that will be most appropriate when you are ending the letter, suppose sincerely, after that your signature, then you include your first name, last name, your email, your phone number. That is most appropriate. Don't include it in between the letter. Next, after sending the cover letter and resume, you will have to start preparing for the interview. So, how will you start practicing? You should dedicate at least an hour to your preparation. It will boost your confidence and impress the interviewer with what you have learned about the role and your prospective employer. Here's a sample formula outlining a 60-minute preparation exercise. So there are, I already mentioned that scientific technique through which you can develop the preparation. So you will require every day 1 hour preparation to make the interview most impressive. So how will you divide? 5 minutes rereading and analyzing the job description. बार बार ये job में क्या बोला है, क्या description दिया है, read करते जाइए. And focusing on the essential requirements and responsibility. So you can write it down also. आप लिख भी सकते हैं कि क्या क्या responsibilities they are looking for. ये responsibilities आपके कैरी करने का skills आपके पास है कि नहीं है, and that will be the initial stage. 5 minutes every day you will give in order to tailor your answers and hone on the most important aspects of the job. तो इससे क्या होगा कि आप अपने आंसर को उसी तरीके से प्रिपेयर कर पाओगे. These are the requirement the employer looking for. These are the responsibilities you have to carry out if you get the job. So accordingly, you can prepare your answer. Next, 5 minutes rereading your resume. अपना resume बार बार पढ़िए, क्योंकि हम लोग क्या करते हैं, resume में बहुत सारे चीज क्वालिफिकेशन स्किल्स वगैरह वगैरह ऐड करते हैं. एंड देन क्या होता है कि कभी कभी अब अपना जैसे यूनिवर्सिटी का ईयर या कौन कौन सा स्किल आपने मेंशन किया, क्यों मेंशन किया, ये आप बार बार इसको दोहराइए अपने आप कि मेरे पास क्या क्या है, क्यों मैंने ये मेंशन किया, और अगर इसके बारे में मुझे कोई सवाल पूछे तो हाउ विल आई give the answer. इसलिए अपना resume you have to memorize whatever you have written in your resume. And cover letter also, what cover letter you have sent for application. आप cover letter में कुछ और लिखा और when you are asked you are telling something else. तो ये दोनों में अगर फर्क आ जाए तो तभी कैंसिल हो जाओगे. To review how and why you pitched yourself in the first place. Okay, जो मैंने बोला कि क्यों आपने ये जॉब के लिए अप्लाई किया और क्या क्वालिफिकेशंस आपके साथ मैच हो रहा है या क्या रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी यू कैन टेक. Next 15 minutes researching potential interview questions specific to the position of the industry. अभी डिजिटल गूगल की जो ज़माना है, डिजिटल ज़माना, so we can find out all the required interview questions on internet. Everything is available. So you only need to research about it. You have to search it and you have to write it down in some place in a notebook and practice answering those questions. 20 minutes practicing answers to these questions and recalling specific examples from your work experience, such as major accomplishments, challenges, or milestones that will serve as anecdotes to strengthen your responses to situational and behavioral based interview questions. So, when you will note down all the questions that are available on internet regarding the particular job position, then you will tally with your accomplishment. आपने क्या किया? If you are a student, even if you are a student, you have many challenges you have to face. You have accomplished many things and you have achieved some milestone. So how can you connect all those with the answer? You have to you will give examples of your own experience. अपने आप जितना भी कनेक्ट कर पाओगे उस आंसर के साथ, एग्जाम्पल जितना भी दोगे अपना अकॉम्प्लिशमेंट का, तो that will be more appropriate. Last 15 minutes researching the company, looking into its history, mission, values and recent projects. So you have to do a thorough research about the company you are applying for. So not only about yourself but also about the company. That 15 minutes every day you have to give for researching about the company. In addition to practicing these steps on your own, ask a friend or family member to pose as an interviewer so you can get used to answering questions in real time. So mock interview preparation you can start at your home with the help of any friend or family. जो भी है आप उनको बोलोगे कि to ask you the questions and you can give answer in front of them. So they can also give you feedback. Next is have a list of questions ready to ask your interviewer. So interview का एक part होता है where interviewer also asks that whether you have anything to ask to your employer. So most of the time what happens, we think that if we say no, I do not have any question, that does not impress the interviewer. अगर आप थोड़ा बहुत रिसर्च करने के बाद if you make 2-3 questions that you can ask your interviewer, then interviewer will be more impressed because they know that you have researched about their company, that already you know about the company. So always make a list of questions to ask your interviewer. You will most likely be asked if you have any questions, so prepare few so you know that you would like to learn about the role and company. So आपका question कैसे होगा कि आपका जो role है वो किस तरह से, how will you grow or how will you perform regarding your role or about some company features, you can ask questions. Next, be prepared to share examples of your achievements. So मैंने पहले ही mention किया कि जितना आप relate करोगे your achievement, your accomplishments with the answer, जितना आप share करोगे अपना experience हर एक answer के साथ, that will be most appropriate. You will be able to show the interviewer what you have accomplished in previous role. That role may be you have another job and you are changing your job, or you are a fresher, whatever may be. Next we will come some etiquette tips. First is what to wear to a job interview. So that is the most important thing to look for. Regardless of the type of job you are interested in, you want that first impression. It is said that first impression is the last impression. So once you enter the room, you have to create that impression that the employer will hire you. So for that, the first thing you have to look for your dress code. When dressing for an interview for a professional position, dress accordingly in business attire. It's important to be neat, tidy and well-groomed and to present a positive image to the employer. It is important to remember that interview dress code for males and females vary greatly depending upon factors like location, industry and company. So for that you have to have awareness कि कहाँ पर आप जा रहे हो इंटरव्यू देने के लिए, कौन सी इंडस्ट्री है and the company culture. इसलिए that is why you need to research on the company thoroughly. Interview dress code for corporate interview. It is crucial to follow a formal dress code while appearing for a corporate interview. Scheduled at a middle level or senior position in industries like banking and financial services, telecom, etc. Reason being, formal outfits reflect a person's strong leadership trait and also exhibit seriousness towards the company and the interviewer. So according to position, if you dress, जो भी position के लिए you are applying, उसी के हिसाब से if अगर dress code हो तो leadership trait और seriousness ये reflect होगा. Okay, next we will come some dress code for males. For top wear, shirts, a light or a color combination is a very important thing. A light or solid colored long sleeved shirt is always a good idea for interview dressing. You can either go for a plain shirt or a one with micro checks. So these are the requirements, either solid, light, long sleeved plain shirt or micro means very small checks. Suits or blazers. You can also opt for a formal suit or simply throw on a blazer over a light or solid colored shirt. For suits and blazer, best to go for colors like black, navy blue, dark gray, dark brown. So these colors are appropriate for interview. These are earthy colors. Next, for bottom wear, choose dark colored trouser, preferably black, gray or blue. You can experiment with the fit of the trouser with slim, medium or regular fit. Prefer a plain trouser over a printed one. So both for top wear and bottom wear, always wear solid colored plain trouser or shirt, not any printed one. Socks, select a plain pair of cotton socks that match with the color of your trousers. Shoes, pair of formal shoes will complete your look. Choose a comfortable pair. Take care of the size of the shoe. You should be comfortably walking wearing the shoe. It is always a safe bet to go for colors like black or tan. So try wearing shoes in black or tan color. Next, accessories. Tie. Put on a traditional tie to complete the formal look. For the tie, it is advisable select a color and pattern that complements your shirt. जैसे शर्ट का कलर होगा उसी के हिसाब से you choose the tie. Belt. Solid textured belt in colors like black, brown, dark blue. So you can see that in all accessories the favorite colors are black, brown or dark blue for interview purpose. Add a finishing touch to your look with a classic watch. And for bag, carry a basic brown or black small laptop bag or briefcase for your documents. So you can see that all your attire should be classy. Next, female. Some of the most commonly accepted professional interview dress code for females. For traditional wear, traditional Indian suit. A well-fitted traditional Indian suit is a good option for female candidates. However, avoid wearing a tight-fitted suit with glitter, lace or animal print. And sari, you can also opt for a simple cotton sari in solid or pastel colors for a formal look. For women also, solid or pastel color, and the fabric should be cotton. Next, for western wear, for a female, pantsuit, a dark or pastel colored pantsuit with light colored shirt makes for a classy interview dressing. Shirt or top should be full sleeved or half sleeved, and with a knee-length pencil skirt is acceptable as professional dress code. This is appropriate for some particular positions like air hostess or some managerial corporate job. Choose light and pastel shades for shirt and top with minimal print. Here also, the more you wear solid color, the more better. Formal dress, a well-fitted knee-length dress is in straight style is also a good option for female candidates. Now come to footwear. Formal women's shoes with fairly low heel look impressive. Go for colors like black, tan, beige, blue, dusky pink, etc. and pumps look impressive with almost any outfit. So try to wear a low heel shoes and preferably pumps. Now come to accessories. Female candidates can carry a smart and basic handbag to keep their documents in place. Go for neutral shades or basic colors like black, tan, blue. Makeup should be minimal. Nail paint, neutral colors. Hairstyle, neatly styled in basic manner. So these are the dress codes for both male and female candidates. Next we will come for timelines. Being on time means being a little early. So whenever you are appearing for an interview, always be little early. You will be stressed if you are running late and rushing. So that will make you less confident during the interview. So always be little early and reach the interview place on time. So when you are interviewing on site, that means you are going for an interview in a place. reach 10 to 15 minutes in advance of your interview time. Walk in with a smile on your face and sit up tall at the table, leaning slightly forward to engage in the conversation. So this body language you have to carry with you. Always have a smile and sit straight and slightly forward, not too much leaning on the table. So maintain that body posture. Next is when you are interviewing online. If you are participating in a video interview, ensure all your technology is in working order ahead of time and you have good internet service. You don't want a last minute glitch hold up the process. Next step, think before you speak. बोलने से पहले सोचो and then tell. Well thought answer is always better than a rushed one. So कोई भी आंसर देने से पहले थोड़ा सोच लो and then you tell the answer. Of course, you don't want to sit there in silence for 5 minutes. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि 5 मिनट तक आप सोचते ही रहोगे. You can take only few seconds, but always think and then take these few seconds and then start giving your answer. It is always acceptable to take several seconds to think before you speak. There are some ways to stall if you are not sure how to answer a question. So sometimes क्या होता है, हम लोग कुछ बोलते हैं जो appropriate नहीं है, नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Avoid these things. क्या क्या है, मतलब हमें कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, so we are hesitating or repeating the interviewer's question back to them. जो क्वेश्चन इंटरव्यूअर कर रहे हैं उसको फिर से रिपीट कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमें मालूम नहीं है क्या बोलना है. और by using a phrase like that's an interesting question, I was actually just thinking about that when I read an article on a similar topic. So avoid all these things. If you are really stumped, you can say उसके बदले क्या बोलूँगी? What a great question. I have actually never been asked this before. Let me just take a second to think about this. So you can actually tell that you don't know the answer, you will think and tell the answer. So always they say like this, that what a great question. I have actually never asked this before. Let me just take a second to think and about this. So you will have the time to think for few seconds and then give the answer. Speaking clearly, cohesively and calmly. Talking too fast can make you look rushed, flustered and anxious. So too fast is not the way you will talk. Take a deep breath and make a conscious effort to slow down. धीरे से आंसर देना है. And speak calmly and clearly. जो भी जितना भी बोलोगे calmly, your voice tone should be in a calm mode and clear. It will help you avoid interview stress. Try to answer each question by addressing one point at a time. So जो भी एक point उसको पकड़ लो, उसको explanation करो, उसको खत्म हो जाए, फिर come to the next point. Do not be afraid to ask the interviewer for clarification of the question. If you are unable to understand कि क्या बोलना चाहिए या क्या पूछ रहे हैं, always ask. पर एक दो बार आप पूछ सकते हो, but not in every question. हर एक time you cannot ask, but एक दो बार पूछ सकते हो कि actually what the employer is looking for. Showing your confidence. So that is the main thing. You have to show that you are confident. Although you should be willing and able to promote yourself, your experience and your accomplishments, be sure you don't come across as arrogant, narcissistic or self-important. तो इसको ध्यान देना चाहिए कि you will be promoting yourself. आप अपने आप को promote करना चाहते हो because you will share your experience, your accomplishment. But इतना ज़्यादा नहीं बोलोगे कि जो इंटरव्यूअर सोचे कि आप बहुत arrogant हो या self centered हो, ये नहीं करना चाहिए. Focus on exuding a kind and balanced sense of confidence. You have to be balanced. जो भी answer होगा, that will match your skill and other accomplishment, but in a balanced way. When you discuss your achievements, be sure to give credit where it is due, in order to show that you are a team player. So, क्या होता है कभी कभी your achievement is not your own. Sometimes group achievements कुछ होता है. So always give credit to other group member in that case. So that will make a good impression to the employer because they will know कि if you are working in a group, you have the ability to share with your team member all the responsibilities or also the ability to give credit. That will make the impression of a good leadership. Next is keeping natural and steady eye contact. Throughout your interview is an excellent way to project confidence. So always keep the eye contact. Practice keeping your hands on the table. Fidgeting is a sign of nervousness. So keep your hands on the table. Sometimes क्या होता है हम लोग पेन पकड़ लेते हैं, इधर उधर हाथ घुमाते हैं, इधर उधर देखते हैं. So always keep your hands on table and look at the eyes of the interviewer. Actually listening. Interviews are especially tricky because you do need to be listening to your interviewer's question while mentally preparing your answer. So you will be doing both things together. एक तो सुनोगे questions and उसके साथ दिमाग में उसका answer prepare करना. So you have to, that is why you need practice. However, if you don't listen well in the first place, you might miss the entire point of the question, and as a result, your answer could fall totally flat. So, listening is a very important thing. What the interviewer is asking, listen it carefully, and at the same time, start preparing the answer in your mind. Next is stay in the moment and don't let yourself zone out. Even if it feels like the interviewer is talking endlessly. So कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कुछ डिस्कशन हो जाता है and interviewer जो प्रश्न पूछ रहा है शायद कुछ ज़्यादा ही बोल देते हैं. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि you will start thinking about something else. जो भी बोल रहा है you have to listen it carefully. Preparation will help tremendously. मैं पहले भी बोल चुकी हूँ जितना you will practice and prepare, the more you will be confident during the time of interview. So that you have material ready to discuss and won't have to come up with at all on the spot. But good listening skills and the ability to stay focused are the key. So stay focused and listen whatever the interviewer is talking about. Next is expressing optimism. Use both your words and body language to show your optimism and positivity. No company wants to hire someone with a bad attitude. No matter how difficult your situation is, don't bring any baggage into your interview room. That means don't badmouth your former employer or any other companies you have been associated with, and don't complain about your personal circumstances. This is a must. आपका situation जो भी हो, when you are entering in the interview room, you should always show the positive attitude, positive body language and positive words. And secondly, never badmouth. पहले अगर if you have any experience of job anywhere and you were not satisfied, but you will never say anything about your previous employer, any bad thing about your previous employer. Be natural, expressing reasonable perspectives through a lens of optimism. Always be optimistic, enthusiastic and positive. For example, if you have to talk about a challenging situation, you should include a mention of how you may have helped solve it and what you learned that made you a better employee. So, जैसे behavioral question अगर पूछते हैं तो you are giving your own experience. So you always have to focus that you are telling कि this challenge you already face, how you have overcome those challenge or how you have solved that problems and what you have learned from that problems, so that you do not make the same mistake, or if you face the same challenge, how you can solve it again. Remember, your body language matters as much as your words. So, इन दोनों का हमेशा मैच होने चाहिए, your body language and your words. Next, relaying your interest. It is important to show the interviewer that you are very interested in this job. So always be enthusiastic and interested about your interview or the role. It's also important not to come across as desperate to get hired for this job or for any job. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप desperately हो जाओगे, हाँ मुझे ये job चाहिए, ऐसे behave नहीं करोगे. You will show interest and enthusiasm, but always in balanced manner. Next, an air of disinterest, apathy or monotony will likely turn off an interviewer, as will over-enthusiastic desperation. So, दोनों ही इंटरव्यूअर को टर्न ऑफ कर देंगे. एक तो मोनोटोनी, आप कोई भी आपका फेस ब्लैंक फेस, बॉडी लैंग्वेज पेसिमिस्टिक, ऐसे मोनोटोनस अपीयरेंस, या फिर ज़्यादा ओवर एंथुसियास्टिक, इतना ज़्यादा बोल रहे हो कि दैट ऑल्सो मेकिंग द इंटरव्यूअर हैव अ नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट. No matter how much you want or need the job, refrain from acting as though you are desperate. Pleading or begging doesn't have a place in a job interview. So, ये कि जितना भी आपको ये जॉब की ज़रूरत हो, you will never beg or plead कि हमें दीजिए, हमें चाहिए ये जॉब, ऐसे नहीं. This is totally negative put or negative impact on the employer. The key is to express earnest interest. That is why you will express the interest for this job. You will explain the qualities you have, but never beg for that role or job. And your passion for the work you do. You will always express that you are passionate to work, but never over enthusiastic. Keep in your back of mind that you will be a valuable asset for an employer. If you can express yourself in a balanced way, you remember that the employer will always think you as a valuable asset for their company. So you have to present yourself in that manner. Knowing more than your elevator pitch. Practice to be able to give an elevator pitch in which you introduce yourself, recap your experience, promote your most valuable professional assets. So आपको ये एक speech हमेशा practice करनी चाहिए. Sorry. Make sure you are comfortable talking about yourself beyond sorry.
पानी पी लो मैडम, पानी पी लो. Drink water.
Yes. So make sure you are comfortable talking about yourself beyond that. That means आप कुछ तैयार किए गए हो about yourself, your professional assets or to promote yourself, but उसके अलावा भी आप अपने बारे में कुछ ऐसी चीज तैयार किया जाओगे कि अगर if they want to know more about you, you can talk about that. Know how to discuss both your strength and weakness and emphasize your best qualities and greatest skill while putting a positive spin on your areas of improvement. तो आपका स्ट्रेंथ क्या है वो भी आपको जाननी चाहिए, एज उसके साथ वीकनेस. कोई भी इंसान ऐसे हमेशा परफेक्ट नहीं होता, तो उसका कुछ भी वीकनेस रहते हैं, बट यू हैव टू पोर्ट्रे दैट वो जो वीकनेस है you will always try to improve it. Next, you should also be able to exert some level of control over the conversation. If you prepare yourself beforehand, तो क्या होगा जब interview question start किया जाएगा, you can take the control of the interview. You will take the interview pattern in a way that you want to. उसके लिए आप अगर पहले से प्रिपेयर करते जाओ तो इंटरव्यूअर अगर आपके बारे में कुछ ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, उसी के अकॉर्डिंगली यू नो अबाउट योर स्ट्रेंथ, वीकनेसेस एंड अदर थिंग, तो आप इंटरव्यू को उसी तरह मोड़ सकते हो इन द कन्वर्सेशन. For example, if an interviewer tries to trip you up with a tricky question like, have you ever had a bad experience with an employer? Or tell me about a time co-worker was unhappy with you. You should be able to answer their question while bridging your response into the positive. An idea or example that shows how you learn and grew from the situation. So if you have such an example, you will always say about your experience, but at the end you have to add that you have learned these things from this bad experience and now you have grown up from there. You should also have questions of your own to ask the interviewer. Next, expressing gratitude. Don't underestimate the importance of saying thank you. As soon as your interview concludes, you should thank your interviewers for their time and for the opportunity to learn more about the position. So not only just mere thank you, you will also elaborately say thank you for the opportunity, and also you have learned something through discussion in the interview. That also you have to mention. When you get home, you should always follow up with a thank you email. Otherwise, the interviewer may take your silence as a sign that you are not really interested in the position. A survey report shows that 80% of the employers take thank you notes into consideration when deciding who to hire. but only 24% of candidates sent them. So always send a follow-up email with thank you notes. Taking a few minutes to show your appreciation for the interviewer's time is well worth it. Now we will come to some phone interview tips. So because these days we often have phone interviews. So there are certain things apart from the previous things जो मैंने पहले डिस्कस किया, उसके साथ फोन इंटरव्यू के लिए कुछ और चीज हमें जाननी चाहिए. Many companies start the interview process with a phone call to discuss the job opportunity with a prospective employee, determine whether the candidate is a good fit and to gauge his or her interest in the position. So पहले हम लोगों को क्या होता है, फोन कॉल आते हैं कंपनी से. क्यों ये करते हैं कि ये whether the candidate is prospective or not ये देखने के लिए, और उसका इंटरेस्ट कितना है ये पोजीशन के लिए, और गुड फिट है कि नहीं ये जानने के लिए. Phone interviews are often used to screen candidates to narrow the pool of applicants who will be invited for in-person interviews. तो इसी के हिसाब से वो लोग क्या करते हैं, स्क्रीन करते हैं, और जो in-person interviews के लिए बुलाया जाते हैं उस नंबर कम हो जाते हैं. In some cases, a phone interview may be the only interview you will have. In many cases, your interview will be scheduled in advance by mail or phone. In others, you may receive a surprise phone call asking whether you are available to chat about that job. So, these are the conditions. You can get a phone call from the employer. Tips for acing a phone interview. Follow these tips for a successful phone interview. First, if your interview is scheduled, if you know that this time the interviewer will call you, before that you can prepare yourself. Create a checklist. Review the job posting and make a list of how your qualifications match the hiring criteria. Have the list available so you can glance at it during the interview. अगर आप फोन से बात कर रहे हो तो साइड में आपको लिस्ट रख दो कि आपका कौन से स्किल ये जॉब के लिए कैसे इम्पोर्टेंट है. For practice, have a friend or family member conduct a mock interview and record it. जब आप रिकॉर्ड करोगे तो उसको सुनोगे तो मालूम पड़ेगा कि फोन में जब बात करोगे तो कैसे सुनाई देता है. So accordingly, you can do your voice modulation. Have your resume handy. Keep your resume in clear view, either on top of your desk or tape it to the wall. So it's at your fingertips when you need to answer questions. So we have these facilities. Phone interview अगर दे रहे हैं तो हमें ये प्रिविलेज मिलता है कि हम लोग अपना रेज्यूमे भी साथ में रख सकते हैं या सामने की दीवार में चिपका सकते हैं, so that when they are asking question आप अपने रेज्यूमे को एक बार देख सकते हो and accordingly you can give answers. Be prepared to take notes. कभी कभी हम लोग क्या हो जाता है, have a pen and paper handy for note taking. बहुत कुछ इंटरव्यूअर्स शायद डिस्कस कर जाते हैं जो आफ्टर इंटरव्यू आफ्टर सम टाइम we may forget about that. So only just after finishing the interview you note down the required points so that अगर in person interview के लिए कॉल किया जाता है so you can discuss about that in later. अच्छा, next is have a glass of water ready so you can take a quick sip if your mouth gets dry. Next, confirm all the details. Include the date, time and who you will be talking to. ये पहले confirm करना है. Don't get interrupted. So phone interview के दौरान interruption नहीं चाहिए. Turn off call waiting so your call isn't interrupted. put your cell phone on do not disturb so you don't hear beeps or buzzes from apps, text message and so on. This is mandatory to put your cell phone on do not disturb mode. Reschedule if you have to. If the call wasn't scheduled and isn't at a convenient time, ask if you could talk at another time and suggest some alternatives. So this is mainly for surprised call. If the time is not convenient for you, suppose you are outside walking somewhere or doing some urgent work, you can always ask to reschedule and you can give your preferable times if this matches with the employer. Next, clear the room. Get rid of all kinds of distraction and close the door. Use a landline. If you have a landline, use that instead of your cell phone. That way, you will eliminate the possibility of poor reception or dropped calls. Do smile. Smiling will project a positive image to the listener and will change the tone of your voice and gives your voice more energy and enthusiasm. So, phone call may be you always try to smile while giving the answer. That will make a great impact on your voice and energy and enthusiasm. Do give short answers. It's important to focus on the interview. Be sure to listen to the question and don't give long answers in phone call. Follow up after the interview. That is what is compulsory for all the interview, whether phone interview or in-person interview. So these are all. Finally, two things you have to remember. The secret of acing a job interview is to stop believing in luck and start believing in yourself. So जितना आप practice करोगे and prepare करोगे, the chances that you will get the job. So don't believe in luck. Luck से कुछ नहीं होता, practice से होता है. And secondly, a job interview is not a test of your knowledge, but your ability to use it at the right time. Knowledge or degrees वगैरह you have already achieved in colleges, universities, but job interview में उसका टेस्ट नहीं होगा. आप अपने आप को किस तरीके से प्रेजेंट कर रहे हो, that is more important. So keep these two things in mind and practice for your next job interview. Lastly, thank you for giving me the opportunity to express
interview skills, and I feel nothing has been left behind which should have been described. So the speech was very wonderful keynote speech. I would like to invite participants for their questions and doubts. Please, participants.
Hello, ma'am. Myself, Partho Das
yes.
from Robinhood University. Can I present my hobby to the interview board, ma'am?
Yes, that is what I say. Whatever you have, your skills, your achievement, accomplishment and other extracurriculars, whatever you have to make, first you prepare how will you present yourself. So always mention about your hobbies. That is what I said कि interviewer क्या देखते हैं, आपका वो यूनिवर्सिटी और कॉलेज का डिग्री के अलावा आपके पास क्या क्या है. Okay, that will be extra. Yes,
Ma'am, my hobby is mouth organ. I am mouth organ player. Can I carry my mouth organ
no,
to the interview?
that that is not. You can talk about that. What are your hobbies, or if you have any stage performance or anything like this. But don't carry the mouth organ and play over there. That is not appropriate.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Anybody else, please?
Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible to you, ma'am?
Yes.
This is Dr. Hema Mali here, ma'am, from Tamil Nadu. I have a doubt, ma'am. Usually when we attend an interview, whether we must carry all the certificates, ma'am, whatever the webinar or seminars or whatever I may attend, is it a must or not, ma'am?
Yes, all your documents you should always carry with you. If in-person interview, when you are doing a video interview or phone interview, that you can keep for your reference.
Okay, ma'am.
And that is what I said. Your resume you have to keep with you for phone interview or video interview, because you have jot down so many skills or your certificates and all. So you have to remember whatever you have mentioned in the resume. Okay, but
Okay, ma'am.
In person.
But in a resume, we are mentioning the counts of how many webinars or whatever the paper presentations I have attended.
Doesn't really, instead of giving positive impression, it gives negative impression. In that case, how do you suggest the students community? I am Professor Badiuddin Ahmad from Hyderabad.
Thank you. That is what I mentioned. They need to practice beforehand. I also gave a schedule how they can practice, because that is why they need to thoroughly what they have mentioned in the resume and practice beforehand. And I mentioned a 1 hour practice session, how they will practice for this interview session. So if they go practicing, after practicing and preparation, if they go, they can talk. Otherwise, what happens, that is what happens. When they are asked question, they cannot answer anything. So they need the practice and preparation beforehand.
You mentioned a very important point. Attitude is very important in the interview. That's true, because I've been also part of the interview boards, and the people come very, lethargic style. When they wanted to ask to show the resume, something like the front office people, because nowadays they are keeping the cameras, CCTVs. The moment the candidate to that front office people take the resume, and the way they bring the resumes, a very awkward manner, and thereby they don't allow such candidates for interview, because the moment their attitude is very lethargic, and they will be losing their what you call scope for job. What do you say about it?
Yes, that is what everything, and that is what I have discussed. Your attitude, body language, your word, and how you have prepared yourself. ऐसे होता है, हम लोग बहुत कुछ मेंशन करते हैं रेज्यूमे में, और जब प्रश्न पूछे जाते हैं कि कुछ आंसर नहीं दे पाते, क्योंकि हम लोग प्रिपेयर नहीं किया कि जो भी वो, इसीलिए नोट डाउन करनी चाहिए कि मैंने क्या क्या मेंशन किया रेज्यूमे में. एक्चुअली आई हैव दैट स्किल, अगर है तो कैसे, उसके बारे में पूछेंगे तो मैं क्या आंसर दूंगी. तो ये इसीलिए प्रिपरेशन चाहिए. विदाउट प्रिपरेशन कभी भी नहीं जाना चाहिए जॉब इंटरव्यू के लिए. दैट इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग. और ये अगर प्रिपरेशन हो जाए तब देन देयर वोंट बी एनी प्रॉब्लम. अदरवाइज वही प्रॉब्लम होगी.
Concept पे basic command, basically they don't ask big things in the interview, only concept actually what I say. But generally some people come for the commerce lecturer, suddenly they get a question, what do you mean by commerce? Suddenly they get what is simple question they ask me, I could answer. But they expect something very big. But in interview I think they don't ask very big things, very minute things, very conceptual things. That is what being lacking, I have been observation. In this case, what did you suggest for?
Another thing is always connect your experience or whatever with your answer. Like give the more you can give example. Suppose you have faced this earlier, and example always connect with your personal experience. कि मेरी ये skill से मैंने ये किया. Okay. और ये सिचुएशन मेरे हुआ था तो मैंने ऐसे ओवरकम किया, या फिर मैं ओवरकम नहीं कर पाई बट somebody else helped me, उससे मैं मुझे ये लर्न किया. I have learned this from this. ऐसे नहीं कि जो भी सिचुएशन आएगा हम लोग सब कुछ अपने आप कर पाएंगे, ऐसे तो नहीं. हम लोग सीखते हैं कि पहले में मुझे ये सिचुएशन आया था. I have learned from this. I could not help at that time, but somebody else helped and I have learned this from कि आगे अगर वही सिचुएशन मेरे सामने आ जाए तो I can handle that because now I know how to handle. तो that is you have to tell the truth ना. ऐसे ही नहीं कि हम लोग सब कुछ हमें मालूम है, जो भी पूछे हाँ मालूम है नहीं. पहले मुझे मालूम नहीं था, लेकिन हाँ एक बार जब ये सिचुएशन मैंने फेस किया तब मैंने लर्न किया. So that will
नहीं मैडम, अगर इंटरव्यू में कुछ नहीं मालूम होती है तो नहीं मालूम बोलने में बेहतर ही है ना, इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग नथिंग.
हाँ,
इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी एवरीथिंग.
ऐसे तो नहीं होते ना, हम लोग सब कुछ जानते हैं और हम लोग परफेक्ट, मेरी कोई वीकनेस है ही नहीं, ऐसे तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं होते, सभी मेरी स्ट्रेंथ है. हाँ, so it is better कि this is my weakness और आगे if I get chance I will improve this. I am working on this. मैं प्रैक्टिस कर रहा हूँ या कर रही हूँ इसी के ऊपर, ताकि आगे से मुझे इसके ऊपर इम्प्रूवमेंट मिले. So that is honest answer. Always
इंटरव्यू में देखा गया है कि मोस्टली why should we appoint you, one question generally, and if you appointed how do you see after 5 years? These two questions I have been seeing very commonly. इसके लिए कैसा प्रिपेयर किया जाए बच्चों को?
हाँ, वही मैंने बोला कि 5 years after 5 years, that means how much you have grown up professionally and personally. Okay, तो इसके लिए जैसे कि you will discuss about these are my strength. Using this strength, I have been successful in my career, and also I have these weaknesses, and in the coming 5 years, I will try to develop more professional skills so that I can improve and these weaknesses turn into my strength also. So that is where, so this way ऐसे नहीं कि 5 साल, suppose we are giving an 5 साल के बाद I will see myself in your position, I cannot say like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Mostly now I am giving interview as a junior manager, I will see myself as senior manager, but that is not the answer. You have developed yourself, then graduate automatically. If you have these skills and developed yourself, you will automatically be promoted to senior manager. So that is how you have to give the answer.
Thank you so much. Absolutely right. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ma'am. May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much for the wonderful information. Ma'am, I would like to ask if we want to negotiate on the salary part. Though this is not a basic interview question, but I would like to ask how we can negotiate if we know very well that we deserve more than this. Then, ma'am, how politely we can negotiate on our salary part, ma'am, please.
First of all, mostly the interviewer asks what is your expected salary, like this. So the most appropriate answer is I would expect whatever is the current salary package in this industry, in this position. So you are not directly mentioning anything, and you are throwing the question back to the interviewer. Okay, that will be the most appropriate answer. You don't mention anything. Suppose interviewer is thinking about giving you some more amount and you mention some less amount. So that case they will agree with whatever you have asked. Or if they are thinking some less amount and you have demanded more, so then they will reject you. So best answer, you will never say any amount. Always say what is the current pay package in this position. I would expect the same.
So in the same institute or the university we can ask, or in the industry where we are working, like what's going on the current salary package. That's what I'm expecting. Because in private sector, ma'am, they are very according to the person to person basis vary the salary.
For private sector, suppose you can mention the best currently trending in the industry and as per your company norm, whatever your pay scale. So accordingly, I would
Ma'am, if you permit, I would like to just tell one incident. Ma'am, where I asked something like whatever is as per the university norms, and they were giving at the same experience, like 3.5 year experience, they were giving more than the salary they offered me in my interview panel. So I asked them that some employee is also getting more than me, so why you are offering this salary? They said, no, at the same level. So sometimes they lied on this thing. So how we can
that is
tell
why
the correct
you need to research. That is what I mentioned now. You have to give 15 minutes every day researching about the company you are applying for. That means everything. What is their pay package? What role which employee is getting for that particular role. So there are also some of the things like Glassdoor is there. So through them you can also find out the salary package. So there are certain in internet you can find certain companies which highlight the salary package of particular companies and their positions. That is why you need to research first, then apply for the job, or in case you are called for an interview, get prepared accordingly.
Yes.
So that you can, when they are offering you this kind of salary, you can talk to them because they will know that you have the research, so they will automatically give you the appropriate salary. Like
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. And the continuation this question, I would like to ask or request to the organizers team, can we have a session on resume writing, how we can write our qualities if we have in a best attractive manner, so that our resume tells us about us in very snapshot, we can say.
Is there any question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, participants, for your active participation in the discussion session. Your questions and your doubts made the discussion very meaningful and fruitful with the answers and explanations from the honorable speaker.
कराड सर, आय एम सॉरी, एक चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये क्वेश्चन टाकलाय मी मॅडमला. माझं नेट संपत आहे म्हणून सॉरी.
Ma'am, there is one question in the chat box.
I'm sorry sir, कराड sir, I'm very sorry.
कोई बात नहीं, पूछ सकते हैं.
is there any impact of an application? Is this the question?
Yes ma'am, that's it.
That is what I said. That is why the cover letter is so much important. The first thing I have discussed, how you are sending the application, depending upon that, they screen whether you will be called for the interview or not. So the cover letter and the application or along with your resume, that is the first thing you have to work upon. कि कैसे, इसलिए मैंने डिस्कस भी किया कि कैसे अप्रोप्रिएट तरीका, कि फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग ग्रीटिंग्स अगर ठीक नहीं हुआ या फिर किसके बाद कौन सा प्रोसेस आता है, कैसे लिखना है, कैसे एंड करना है. सो दैट इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. वो अगर ठीक नहीं है, फिर जॉब की डिस्क्रिप्शन देख के क्या स्किल उसमें मेंशन किया और आपके पास वो स्किल है कि नहीं, यू हैव टू मेंशन दैट along with your qualifications. So accordingly you will get the call. अगर वो पहले ही एप्लीकेशन देखकर अगर लगा कि you are not suitable or not good fit, they will not at all call you. So that is the most important thing. That is what I have discussed in details about the cover letters and all, everything.
Yes madam, thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answers and explanations. Now, after keynote speech and discussion session, I would like to invite Chief Organizer and chairperson of this webinar, Honorable Principal Dr. M.M. Bedkar sir, to give his concluding words. Please, sir.
Thank you, Professor Karad sir, and today's resource person, Madam Shanoli Roy Madam, all the participants of the organizing team committee members, including the active participant Dr. Badiuddin Ahmed sir, Prashant Ugade sir, Anita Dhole Madam, and all my faculty members and students, those who are joining here daily. Every topic I think we have covered, and this topic was remained I think not so expressed before earlier. Interview skills, these are very important for applying candidate in proper manner. How we write application, how we write attached resume, how we mention our hobbies, how we end that application, how we appear for interview, what should be our dress coding. All these things, tips are very important because students are not knowing in the textbook like this. But someone said like this with experienced man or women, then they will definitely follow them it and overcome for their interview and for good jobs. Thank you, madam, for sparing your time. Last day you were saying that if there is no good network, then I am unable to join. It was very afraid by me, because when we gather here for that time and resource was not unable to join, how to manage? That was the problem before us. But you have solved very perfectly, and with very good new network you have explained all these things. And basically today was very highest strength of our webinar joining persons, and the credit goes to you. Thank you, madam. In future also you may join here as a resource person.
Sure. Thank you so much. And that is very important for the students also. No? After they finishing the university or college, they always look for job. And this thing we never taught in school, colleges and everywhere.
Yes.
So
yes.
that is why they need to know how to write cover letter, how to apply, how to sit in an interview, what to do.
Yes.
So
And
that is why I chose.
It's now YouTube. Your speech is in YouTube. I have published it, means live given, and I will share to my students, those who are not unable to join because of the examination, so they can enjoy again, read that, completely watch your video also on YouTube.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Just keep for a
Thank you,
few
sir.
minutes for formal vote of thanks, please.
For your concluding words and for your opinion about the keynote speech. And you are every day trying to give a variety of topics for the audience, for the participants, and these topics are really benefiting to all those who are interested in the related topics. So thank you very much on behalf of the organizing committee of the webinar series. I also thank Honorable Ma'am. She has accepted the invitation. She has delivered a nice and detailed talk on the given topic, and every minute detail was described well, and nothing was left behind. She has given her precious time. So, on behalf of the organizing committee, I thank her sincerely for her keynote speech. I also thank all organizing committee members for their efforts to continue this webinar series. I thank Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am for giving the introduction of today's honorable keynote speaker. And now I request all the participants to fill feedback form if they have not, for getting the certificate. And at the end, with the permission of Chief Organizer and Chairperson of this webinar series, I declare here that today's webinar is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
काल मॅडम म्हणल्या होत्या की सर नेटवर्क राहत नाही, ते नीट काय करायचं. मी म्हणलं त्यांना, मॅडम जिथं नेटवर्क आहे तिथं थांबाल तर बरं होईल. प्रयत्न करते म्हणे, आता काय करावं, पण चांगलं होतं नेटवर्क, त्यांच्यासाठी काही अडचण आली नाही.
फार चांगलं मॅडमनी सगळ्या माहिती मिळाली सर, बरं
हो
का.
सर, हो
म्हणजे
सर.
काही या गोष्टी आपल्याला माहीतच नव्हत्या खऱ्या म्हणजे.